everybody, it's Kristin. Thanks so much for stopping by my channel today. I wanted to share with you the card that I'm making for Craft Roulette. That's right, it's another card for Craft Roulette. Let me get the parameters for you. All right, this was for episode 276. The parameters were easel card, rainbow colors, Western, and black and white image. I know, rainbow colors, black and white image, seems like an oxymoron, but we can make it work. But then you throw in Western, oh boy, oh boy. Well, Mr. Wheel likes to give us a challenge, and a challenge accepted. Let's see how well I did. I got some gluing still left to do, so come join me along on that. I'll just quickly explain some of the items that I'm using here. The word yippee, see where we're going with that maybe. I'm also doing the word pie and the word yay. That's right, yippee pie. If I was only using half aluminum paper, I'd have this thing nailed in, but yippee pie. I'm using that as my Western parameter. So pie means there better be some pie. So I have these from the Stamps of Life, the decollage nested circles. They make a great pie shape. Stay tuned. And then this is an interactive oven set. While I'm not using necessarily the oven, it does have this great pie stamp available. Pie, baby. So why not? So that's what I'm doing. So those are some of the things that are making an appearance on this week's masterpiece, or card, if you will. So here we go. Here's my yippee. Here's my pie. Woo! Things are just wanting to get out of control. So yippee pie. Yay. Here's what I'm going to use for some of my rainbow. So it has a multitude of colors. It was almost from like a tie-dye page that I cut down. Here was the bigger piece of it. So I thought, okay, well, this will lend itself. That's got a rainbow of colors all involved in there. And I went with neutral of black behind it to give it that. A craft colored card base, which is why my pie is also in that same color. I thought, okay, pie crust. And I decided to go with the color. This one is strawberry from Stamps of Life. You can go strawberry, you can go with cherry, whichever way you want. So I took those circles, which Stephanie at the Stamps of Life calls this edge her decal edge. It's probably not decal-y or as torn paper looking as maybe other companies may have, but I like this kind of larger scallop, 3 mini scallops. When she does decal edge, that's how she does hers. Now, I've made a pie before using this, so I kind of halfway knew what I was doing. I took one of the, I don't know, second smallest maybe in the set and made a frame. Then I just chopped off thin pieces of the same cardstock and wove it on the background to make a lattice type pie crust, if you will. I need to trim off those ends, but basically I'm going to put the filling with the pie crust on top. I'll just line up the edges since I use the same die shape on those, and if it doesn't quite fit, I'll trim off the edges, no big deal. And then pie. So I'll put that on there. I'll put the yippee pie up top. Now here's my regular card base, 4 1/4 by, well, started out at 11 and then I scored at 5.5, and this is 2 3/4, I believe, to get that kind of even spacing, and it's going to sit up like that. Oh look, black and white image, here we go. And then I'll glue that in. I also had a little piece of leftover from when I cut the pattern paper, so that brings in more of a pinky purple, so I'll waste not, want not, that will be glued to the top. I'll put that in there. Now this ribbon I thought was really pretty. It was in my stash. It was given to me, and it has this red gold kind of feel. So I thought, well, that looks like it could be a good addition to a pie. So I'm going to partly use this as my stopper. So I'll wrap that around my card there. Put it basically where I think my stopper may be, because I'll have this portion sitting up for the easel card with the pie. Now I was planning on cutting off some of the pie at the bottom, and maybe I'll use the bottom half too as the stopper, so it looks like the pie's kind of swooping along. Not that you want swooping pie, because you might lose your filling that way, but it's paper. It's not real pie, so the essence will be there, if you will. All right, I'm going to get gluing, put on some music for you, and we'll parameter check here towards the end. so much for sticking with me here. Did you see the big mistake that I made right in the beginning? Yeah, okay, let's go ahead and cover it because, you know, these things happen. It's an easel card, so you don't have to glue down the entire front panel. But that is what I did in the beginning. I caught it quick enough, however, the glue left some ickies behind, and I didn't like that. So I went ahead and put a piece of that same kind of tie-dye rainbow paper just to cover up that backside. And then I figured, well, if in the event anybody is looking at it from the back of the easel, they will see a coordinated piece back there. So went with it. This was the leftover piece from the panel that I cut, so waste not, want not, stuck it on the back. So here's the easel, yippee pie, yay. I did, as you could see, pop that little piece of pie up. I didn't want to waste it. It was such a cute little piece. And I thought, boy, it sure does make that great little stopper. I'm not sure who might get this card. Do you know anybody that likes pie instead of cake for birthdays? Could make a wonderful card that way. Maybe just to say hi, I'm thinking of you, or here's a funny laugh because maybe you need a good giggle. Who doesn't love a good pun? Maybe I might come through and add some strawberry on it, so this way it might resemble strawberry pie. Or maybe it's cherry, and I'll leave it up to whomever might get this card to see if they like strawberry or cherry or some type of mixture thereof. Alrighty, so now that I think all my airs are covered, let's go ahead and parameter check to see if I've met all the requirements for this week's Craft Roulette parameters. Easel card. Yes, I would say that's a check. I have your traditional stand-up easel card. So we're going to go and call that check. Rainbow colors. Yes, I've got a multitude of colors. Not a lot in the purple category, but you do get quite a rainbow of them. Oh, look, here's some purple back here. So, see, check. Western. Okay, this might be the time for the stretchy pants, but I went with a fun, westerny, punny type theme. Yippee-ki-yay! Because it's just so much fun to say with a voice. Try it. You'll like it. And black and white image, as I have a pie stamped here, as well as a pie stamped towards the top for the inside of the card, right? Put that parameter on the inside of the card. No one will know, right? All right, so check, 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 check. Got them all. Well, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today and watching how this came together, or almost didn't come together. What? But we figured it out in the end, right? So again, thank you so much. If you have any questions about the card, the parameters, or anything that I used in today's video, please let me know, and I'll talk to you on the next one.